Todd, that presbytery, churches within a presbytery disperse in such a way and tend to go here around something that you no longer have that presbytery to return home to in 9 years.
In 9 years, yeah.
And then what?
Yeah, the possibility basically would be this: is if, well, then basically what happens is we all have history of the map, right? So we do know where the presbyteries are today, and my guess is at that point, if anything really did disperse so much, then what we'd still be in a position of doing is if we decided in 2021 that this wasn't working, then it's pretty easy to put people back into the presbyteries that they were today. It's not hard to hit a reset button and come back to today. Yes, there would be some mess. There's going to be a lot of mess. I mean, one thing I'm not promising you is that it won't be messy. I mean, that's hard for Presbyterians. It can be really messy. But what it does allow is for people to be able to be having those conversations, again, with more flexibility to do so.
And in the same way that to use your language, and I'll confess that I'm one who hasn't read the whole report, so I've done the first.
You're the only one who hasn't read it. It's been a bestseller. It's reading all over the place. I mean, people call me in the middle of the night telling me it's stunning. No, go ahead.
Well, the first 10 pages changed my life. So. In the same way that you said, and we have this safety net,
right.
So they, I think your word was have to return, get to return.
Yeah, I get it.
What's the safety net for the next 9 years for these people who are doing the hard work? And I ask that because having been part of the team that wrote the gracious dismissal policy for our presbytery and having had a near fight on the floor of presbytery, seeing an adaptation of it, which was shocking, this has to be taken to the pew,
right.
Who doesn't trust anybody.
Right, exactly. The whole reason why we want there to be enough time is because just exactly, one of the things I totally appreciate about this conversation with the fellowship is that these folks are saying, look, these are issues of discernment. No one is dictating that anybody should go somewhere. Notice that everybody's talking about being in a process. That issue of that call to discernment around mission, I believe, is happening across the church. When I was in Minneapolis, I asked several people who were GA loyalists, I called them, staff members. I was in the back room with all the bureaucrats, okay? And I asked them, I said, what are you hearing in this new reformed body that you wouldn't want in our old reformed body? And the answer was, we want all this. Now, we quibble over some things, and we got some big disagreements on some other stuff, but vibrant, discipleship, evangelism, mission, like reaching out to other people, stopping fights, we want all this. So I'm convinced that if we were in a genuine season of discernment, where one of the options was not just, I mean, we're the only two, if you had more than just, we can create a new denomination or we can stay put in what we are, we'd actually engage as much more conversation. So we can, within the PCUSA, create much more flexibility and much more ability to experiment and even to maintain. One of the conversations you could have is to say, look, we're concerned about what this would mean in our churches, so we'd like to set up an experiment and we'd like to become an affiliate member of this presbytery until we figure out if we like it. I mean, there's lots of room, and that's the reason why we tried to build some space into it, because we don't really know what it's going to be. Stephen Johnson, who wrote a whole book on innovation, says that the key to innovation is what he calls the adjacent possible. And until you take one step, you don't even know that there's 5 more steps. You know, we didn't get from, you know, the quill to PowerPoint overnight, right? But until you go one step, you don't even know that you got 2 more doors. And the best part is if you take one step, you can always take one step back. But you might find that there's 2 or 3 options in front of you we didn't even know. And what we're so afraid of is what might happen on step 45. That we don't even do step 1 or step 2.